Hi kids, welcome back to GearGasms. I'm your humble host, Alan Barnes. If you caught our show last week, we showed you how to do hammer-ons, 3 simple types of hammer-ons. We had simple, simple-ish, and compound hammer-ons. And I told you at the very beginning of that video how I was not a trainer, I was not a good teacher. And if you watched it all the way to the end, then you know I proved myself right. I proved that to you. So I'm not going to do any more lessons videos because I'm not very good at it. But I did promise that I would show you guys how to do pull-offs, the 3 types of pull-offs, and then combine them with the hammer-ons for hammer-on pull-off exercises. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I promise you will never ever have to sit through one of these horrific instruction videos ever again. Of course, if you noticed, I'm not using the same guitar as I did last time. I used a Strat. I'm also using a Strat again. This one's a little different. Besides, it goes with my shirt, and it will make a really rad looking thumbnail, because you got to have impact with our thumbnail, kids. That's what they're preaching. You got to have a good thumbnail. No one will watch. So I decided to go full fashion here. Throw a little kiss above this red Strat, which is like the last thing you think of when you think of Kiss. It's fun like that. So in our last video, we talked about the 3 types of hammer-ons. Well, we're going to break them down into 3 types of pull-offs the same sort of way. The first type is a simple-ish pull-off, which is a pull-off that starts on any finger and goes to the first finger. It can be the 3rd to the 1st, which is pretty much how most people think of that particular pull-off. The second type of pull-off we're going to be doing is the simple-ish pull-off, and that's any finger pulling off to any finger other than finger 1. So it could be finger 4 pulling off to finger 2. It could be finger 4 pulling off to finger 3. And just like last time's lesson, this here hand need not be anywhere near your guitar except to pick that first note. Pick the first note. Get this hand the hell out of the way. So we'll start right into the simple pull-off. Keep your pull-offs between frets 3 and frets 10 to keep the stretches somewhat uniform. If you go lower than that, your stretching is going to get kind of weird and it's going to discourage you. You go too high, your stretching gets kind of cramped. That's also going to discourage you. So while you're just starting out, just try to keep it. I just basically usually work between 5 and 7. Now, if you notice, I just instinctively try to put a little vibrato behind it, even though it's not necessary for this exercise. You can do that if you're comfortable with your vibrato. One thing people don't think about is that when you're striking the first note, make sure the finger you're pulling off to is in place and ready to go, and it's where it needs to be, and it has the string pressed down pretty hard, because as soon as this finger comes off, this finger is now the star, and if it wasn't ready, the whole audience is going to know about it, and it's going to sound bad. Try doing it with the pinky. You can also try doing it just with the second finger to the first finger. Try going up this time. And just like before, when you're doing the hammer-ons, don't keep your hand in the back of it just flat. Wherever you start, watch my wrist. See that? Wherever you start, that wrist is going to crank around. So your wrist rolls around the back of the guitar depending on what you're going to be playing, and your thumb sort of changes position with it. Here's a close-up of the simple pull-off. The second type of pull-off we're doing is the simple-ish, and it's basically any finger on your left hand pulling off to any finger on your left hand that is not your index finger. And the reason I break that out separately is it feels like it's a different set of muscle groups. When you're pulling this 2 note and this is 3 to 1, It's a lot different than this one. It's trickier to get that pinky in there to do the pull-offs, especially to something other. Most of the time when we do pinky pull-offs, we pull from 4 to 1. But it's really weird to pull off 4 to 2. Most of the time, if there's that kind of pull-off, we take our hands down there and we go 3-1. But work on doing 4 to 2. After you do that, work on 4 to 3 till you get that down, and then just keep playing around. Change the fingers up, switch back and forth between the simple pull-offs and the simple-ish pull-offs, and you'll be pulling off in no time. Here's a close-up of the simple-ish pull-off. The last type of pull-off we're going to do is compound pull-offs, which is multiple fingers to any other finger. Usually it's 3 notes, sometimes it's 4, but start off small, start with 3. You get a little more comfortable with that, try the 4th finger in there. Four, 3, 2. That is a really weird feeling. I'm struggling. Now we did hammer-ons, we did pull-offs. There's no reason why we can't combine the two. It's a fairly good exercise. You can do it with a guitar that's plugged in, unplugged, but start with a hammer-on, then pull off. Don't pick again, just pull off. Pick once and see how many times you can pull it off. Do that all over the neck, all fingers. And here's the compound pull-off. If you really want to get crazy, try stringing the compounds together, the compound hammer-on and the compound pull-off. Try with the other strings. Now you'll know doing that on the clean tone will really force you to get the strength up. It's so much easier if you have a lot of gain to be sloppy. The gain sort of covers things up. It's like a big thick coat of makeup. Covers up a lot of your flaws in your playing. It's like a Snapchat filter. Maybe it's like that. That's what the kids can relate to. Gain's like a Snapchat filter. It makes you look good, but honey, it's not really you. So I recommend practicing clean. Anyway, combine those two things, have fun with it, get to the point where you can just do one-handed exercises. If you like this video, and I doubt you did because it was just terrible, click the thumbs up button. If you're like me and you didn't think this was very good, or the video before it, click the thumbs down button, the dislike button. But make sure that you do click the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you'll get notified when we have better videos up, which we promise will be soon on the way. As always, thank you for hanging out with us here at GearGasms.